Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Thornton Farm, episode number 4. Thank you all so much for coming back for another episode here on this beautiful, beautiful English map. And we are still in the same game day. We're still in technically our first game day of the season. You know, we started this in early summer, and so we are still in early summer. And I realize this is the 4th video. Actually, it's really the 3rd video that we've been in this game day as far as getting work done. Really, episode number 1, I sort of consider that almost, probably should have even numbered that episode 0 as I normally do, as that really just sort of set the stage for kind of things that we could expect to kind of see with the map, kind of laid out what our equipment was, kind of laid out the initial storyline and everything. So, but this is really probably the 3rd and last episode that we will sort of feature for this game day. I'm going to go ahead and raise this up, and I'm going to go ahead and stop it because we've got a great demand for wood chips, but we don't have any wood chips. As you know, as I've pointed out many times before, if you lift it up with the ground response mod being installed, if you lift that, if you lift the rake up and it's still running, it will still sort of strow your hay or your grass or straw or whatever it is that you're raking up. It will still go ahead and strow that and mess those windrows up. So that's kind of why I went ahead and lifted that off and shut that off. And we've got some pretty large windrows there. So we'll go ahead and drop her down here and just tidy this little area up here and see if we can maybe kind of combine that row with this row and just kind of do that on down. So I went ahead and off camera went ahead and raked, basically tethered the grass to turn that into hay, and then we went ahead and raked the majority of this. And of course we're coming back together here just kind of at the tail end of the process of getting this hay raked up into windrows. And then we will come along here next and go ahead and bale this and get this hay baled up. So anyway, that looks pretty good. I think we'll go ahead and just call that good right there, and we'll go ahead and raise this up and fold it up and head on back to the farm here, just right down the hill. Now, I did recognize the error of my ways when I came through this mud pile or this mud puddle in the previous episode with the John Deere and the John Deere mowers and everything. I had failed to raise the front mower on the John Deere 8530, and that is the reason why I was struggling to basically get that through that gate. Was the front mower was actually still down, and so that was what was causing my problems. So it was all self-inflicted. 110% there, and that's just kind of the way it goes sometimes, right? I'm not sure what that cow is eating there, chewing on the pavement, I guess. And you know, folks, I still can't back and talk at the same time, so let me just be quiet here. All right, and I know what you're saying. I can't back in while I'm even quiet, but that's okay. All right, so we're going to get back into our Deutzfahr here, and we're going to use this to run the baler. And we're going to square bale this hay because we can, and because I'm kind of excited to use the new John Deere baler here. So I'm going to go ahead and put our front guard on. Most likely we will also use this tractor to pick bales up as well. And then we'll go ahead and back this guy up and grab a hold of our square baler. This is brand new to me. I have not used this square baler before, so hopefully it will work out just fine. It's basically new in the mod hub. I'm pretty sure that's where I got it, but if you look under if you go to grizzlybearsims.com, again that's grizzlybearsims.com, and look at the add-ons and mod directory link that I have at the top of the page, and look under baling technology, I think is what I have this set up as, then you'll find it. So let's go ahead and unfold it, and I'll kind of give you a little bit of a brief overview about Thomas. Thomas is our other worker here on Thornton Farm. And Thomas predates me, obviously, here on the farm. We'll go ahead and turn our baler on and lower the pickup and get it ready to go here as we travel through the mud. Let's go mudding, folks. How about that? All right, so it's already getting nice and dirty. And let's start baling. So Thomas, Thomas predates me here on the farm with Mr. Thornton. And we're moving quite along pretty nice. I like this speed that we're able to bale at here, about 12 miles per hour. Anyway, Thomas, again, for the third time, predates me here on the farm, Thornton Farm. He was working here when I came along, and of course I told you that there was another foreman here on the farm that Mr. Thornton had hired, and had been here for a couple of years, and had done, I mean, he didn't do anything wrong. It wasn't that he was a bad guy. He didn't steal anything. He didn't, he didn't make us do all the work while he basically took naps under the shade tree or anything like that. He, as far as I'm concerned, he was a pretty fair guy. He worked just about as hard as we did. I think possible part of his struggles, and I think maybe one of the reasons why he was kind of wanting to do something different, get out of this area, was that, well, he had been here pretty much all of his life, the foreman that is, and so he'll just kind of remain unnamed, I think, just primarily because I haven't thought of a name for him. But anyway, since he's no longer here part of the farm, it doesn't matter. So anyway, so I was here, and there was the three of us, excluding the foreman, so myself and Smithy and Thomas. And so so the foreman just kind of went away one day, and Thomas again predates me, and he's an older guy, about my age, I suppose. Smithy is the younger guy, freshly married, freshly into fatherhood and all that kind of stuff, and what have you. But Thomas is a little closer to my age, and he's done various things here in this community in the Cotswolds. Thomas actually worked at the Kloss dealership for a little while, and he kind of moonlights here, there, and everywhere, and kind of does different things. Thomas likes to travel quite a bit in the wintertime, so when things are kind of dead here on the farm, Thomas is usually here just maybe a day or two a week, and then he goes into London and does other things, travels around and such. And so Thomas was quite interested in my whole backpacking ordeal and such. And let me just kind of pause here for a moment and grab a screenshot, because I always forget this. All right, and off we go again. So so Thomas does, odd jobs around the Cotswolds, spends some time. He's even been known to go down to the pub on a Friday or Saturday night and help Mr. Thornton pull pints, if he needs the assistance. And so, he's about my age, and a really smart guy, but he just, he did not want the stresses and the strains of, performing the role of foreman. Plus also, like I said, he enjoys taking a kind of a more part-time role in the wintertime, and maybe even somewhat in the dead of summer when there's less to do. He's not around as much, and that was sort of a prearranged situation, conditions or whatever, that he had worked with the foreman and with Mr. Thornton and everything some time ago. So obviously when I stepped in and I came here, again, I was just another farm hand, just kind of the third wheel, if you will, because I was low man on the totem pole, as they say. And Thomas and Smithy, neither one. Well, Smithy is a bit immature, I've got to say. Smithy likes to go down at the pub, and he likes to close it down. I mean, he's often there when they call last pint. He is often right there at the bar, ready to go, and oftentimes he will say, make that a double. when they do call last calls. And but he's young, you know, and like I said, he's a stable individual. He's got a brand new family. He's got a child, and relatively newly married, and all that good stuff. But yeah, Thomas just really didn't want to have anything to do with that. Now Thomas's family has been around these parts for a long time. Thomas actually has relatives buried there at the cemetery, at the church that I showed you in the previous episode, where we're going to go do some mowing. I'm not going to do that in this episode, but we'll probably do that on tomorrow's episode, or the next episode, which will, I think, be episode 5, and I think we'll be in a brand new game day for that episode, and we'll go over and mow that little area for Father Brown. Yeah, Thomas has been around for a while. His family's been here in the Cotswolds for forever and a day, and so he's got some relatives buried over there, and of course his family kind of hails from all over this region again. But he does have a cousin over in the U.S., from what I understand, and his cousin sort of many times removed, I'm sure. But his cousin, from what I understand, his cousin's name is Billy Bob, and he works over on a U.S. farm, over on a farm called Thornton Farm. Billy Bob does, and works for the owner there of the farm, so Billy Bob and Thomas kind of email each other and share their struggles and sort of their celebrations and all that kind of stuff with the farm work. And I think that, as far as Thomas is concerned, I think he kind of sees himself sort of always doing this type of work. He's really not inclined, or really not excited about settling down and doing something a little bit more stable. And at this particular point in time, like I said, he's really not interested in this foreman job at all. So getting a pretty good yield out of this field, and of course, we probably cut it just a little early, but we do need to get our hay in, or we need to get some of our hay in. Obviously, we've got quite a few grass fields, and hopefully we can cut these quite a few times. Mr. Thornton does sell hay, silage, and straw bales as well, so keeping in mind that is also part of our overall strategy. And of course, a lot of the hay that we're making right now, this is basically going to be for our farm use. Essentially, when I met with Mr. Thornton at lunch earlier today in the previous episode, basically he gave me an update on some of the other local farmers and such, and so they have placed their orders, but they're not expecting for those orders to necessarily be filled until later in the summer. So they're still okay on their quota from the previous year, and so let's go ahead and kick these extra bells off here. Oh, wrong button. Let's find out what the correct menu is there. B. And then Y. I hit Y, but the baler was still on, so obviously that was part of the error of my ways. And then we'll go ahead and fold our baler up, because we're not gonna bale anymore today. This was all that we wanted to bale. And we are going to go back down to the little farm area here, and we'll kick this baler off. We'll kick this baler off right here, and we're going to grab our forage wagon, which is right over here, and we're going to haul the forage wagon down, and we're going to pick up the grass that we did not ted down in the smaller field, and you'll see that when we get down there in just a moment. So we'll grab this guy and we'll head down there and ted that, and then most likely I think by the time we get back, I'm gonna pick the hay, I think, up off camera, because I won't lie to you, I'm just gonna use the auto loading trailer to grab these hay bales at least. But we're gonna grab this grass down here, get it up to the silo, the silage silo, and then we'll probably go ahead and take the opportunity to get the little Amazon Profi hopper, I think is how you pronounce that. Go ahead and get that loaded up on the trailer, and that way we are ready to go for tomorrow morning, which we'll head over and go ahead and cut that grass for Father Brown and get that task out of the way, just because well, as you can tell, today is Wednesday, tomorrow is Thursday. We've got rain in the forecast Friday and Saturday, so obviously we couldn't be mowing then. We want to make sure that he's able to set out there and get his contemplations and all that stuff, get his mind right and everything for Sunday's Sunday morning Mass. And so we're going to head over there and do that. Go ahead and do that for him early tomorrow morning. And so we'll just get this grass here picked up. And again, you know, we're going to do a combination of grass for chaff purposes to make silage with, and pretty good yield off this field, to be honest with you. I was surprised that I really didn't expect to get more than about 10,000 liters of grass, and we've already passed the 10,000 liter mark and about 33% of our capacity here. I don't think we will fill this up. I don't think we'll have to run and dump and come back for another pass or two, because it's just a relatively small field. It was almost really too small to even cut altogether. Should have just cut it with the Profi hopper. But did do some mowing earlier up, which I'll show you here in just a few moments when we head up to the greenhouse area. I did do some mowing up there. Mr. Thomas informed me that the BBC Country File program is going to come out and interview him about his bees. They're quite interested in. Yeah, I turned it off. All right. They're quite interested in his bee program, and I think he's also going to show off his greenhouses to them, as well as talk a little bit about the silage silo process. So yeah, he wanted me to sort of get that cleaned up. So took the Profi hopper up there, did that off camera, took the Profi hopper up there and just kind of ran it around and cut a little bit of that grass to kind of make things look a little nicer when the BBC cameras come out and talk to him. So that's the kind of stuff that he does on the farm. I mean, he usually stops by and pokes fun at us when we run into gate posts and stuff like that. I'll make sure I leave that on camera for you all to laugh at. But that's about all he does here. Is he'll come out and he'll show some of his friends his prized horses up there and do a few other things. But yeah, he hasn't run a tractor or done anything much on the farm this year. He worked a little bit here last year, kind of with us. I think it was just mainly because he was bored, but he's kind of reached that point to where he realizes there are better things for him to spend his time doing. And so after all, that's what he has us for. And so so yeah, that's kind of what he spends his time. Plus I think he enjoys staying down at the pub and swapping you know, pub stories and stuff like that. So let me shut that tractor off, because I did talk about the fact how we try to save him some money and everything by shutting the tractors off when we're not using them. So yeah, I run the Profi hopper. Obviously I can't cut these weeds, they can't be cut, but we cleaned all this up over here and checked on the bees and everything. And of course Thomas is our bee guy, and he does a really good job. And then of course, as I kind of jog across the parking lot over here, did as best as I could getting the grass cleaned up around here. I think we'll probably try to bring the weed eater, or the strimmer as they call it here in the UK, up here and clean some of that up. But I think it'll be just fine. I think the BBC cameras again will be most interested in his bees, which we clean that up really nice in the greenhouses. So anyway, all right, well, let's go ahead and take this guy back down to the main farm area. And then I think what we'll do next is just load up the Profi hopper on the trailer and then call this an episode. And that way tomorrow morning, the next game day, when we come back together, we can just basically hook up to the trailer and pull that over to Father Brown's area over there and go ahead and cut that for him. And of course we'll take the grass. Obviously we'll hopefully we can get all of the grass in there. I'm pretty sure that we can. We'll take all the grass and we'll bring the Profi hopper back over here, and then we will empty the grass from the Profi hopper into the silage silo up there, and all will be good. Alright, so we'll go ahead and take the Deutschfar over here and get this connected up. And we'll lower our ramps down. Now, I know in the previous episode I said that you know, Mr. Thornton was going to ask around and see if any of his friends had a small flatbed trailer. And nobody had anything available, or at least nobody had one that was sort of available that we could use, or at least use at this particular point in time. And so so basically, Mr. Thornton called me and said, "Hey Jerry, you know, unable to locate a trailer." He says, "Just, you know, just drive the Profi hopper over there." And I'm like, "Well, you know, actually, Mr. Thornton, we do have a trailer. We've got the Bell trailer that we can drive over there. Obviously, it's a bit big. It's a bit overkill, to be quite honest. But you know, it works and it will do the job for us." And so that's what we're going to go ahead and do. So we'll just drive this guy up here nice and slow. He opens that up because we're next to the pig thing there. And we'll park it about right here and go ahead and close the lid back down, set the parking brake, turn him off, and jump down. Whoa, jump down here. And we'll just put a strap on there just for the heck of it, and get back in here like so. And of course we'll raise the ramps back up, and what we'll do, just to make sure that this is out of the weather for any sort of scenario that might come about, we'll just pull this up under the dairy area here. Just like that. Alright, well ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in for another episode here on Thornton Farm. I hope you are enjoying these episodes as much as I'm enjoying playing this map. This is truly an amazing map, and I've got to tell you that when I first discovered it, soon after it was released for Farm Sim 17 in April. From what I understand, and I don't remember it to be the case, but you know, hey, if people tell you that's what happened, then that's obviously what happened. I don't remember that it was available for Farm Sim 15. Obviously, in the Farm Sim 15 time frame, I spent a whole heck of a lot of time on Coldborough Park Farm. Loving that, loving every minute of it. And so it's possible that when it came out for 15, I just, you know, wasn't interested because I was heavily involved with Coldborough Park Farm. So obviously, OxygenDavid did convert it to Farm Sim 17, and that was done in the April time frame, from what I understand. And so it's been heavily played by all of the YouTube greats and everything. But I found it, I downloaded it back in probably April or May, and it just kind of sat on the back burner, basically the back of the hard drive, for quite a while. And then when I was kind of looking at what my next project would be after Mountain Valley Farm, I sort of was on Giants Mod Hub, and I'm like, Thornton Farm, that sounds interesting, and it also kind of sounds familiar. And then basically I downloaded it and already had it, so took a look at it, and I'm like, wow, this is a really great map. So anyway, I'm thoroughly thoroughly just enjoying playing this map. I'm enjoying the storyline and kind of letting you guys become familiar with, well, with Mr. Thornton, with Smithy, with Thomas, and myself. And there's a few other characters here in town. Well, obviously, I've sort of introduced you to Father Brown, and there's some other characters here in the Cotswolds that we will certainly be talking about, may even be interacting with as time goes by. And I just appreciate you guys coming around and having fun with me as I play this wonderful, wonderful game. Thank you so much, Giants, for creating such a wonderful game, and thank you to OxygenDavid for creating such a wonderful map. Please take care of yourselves and each other. God bless you all. Tune back in to the Grizzly Bear Sims YouTube channel the next time that you want to watch a video, and please tell some of your friends about us. I would appreciate that. Also, if you're new to the channel, please click the like button. And also, please click subscribe. Take care. We'll see you next time right here on Thornton Farm. Bye-bye.